Welcome to What's Happening, where we focus on events happening right here in the City of Lynn. Here with me today, we have Sarah Jackson, a chair member over the Lynn Cultural Council, and we're here today to talk about their event, which is a grant writing workshop. It's Sunday, September 13th, 2 p.m. start at the Walnut Street Cafe. Sarah, before we get too much into the event, let's talk a little bit about you, your involvement with the organization.
Sure. So I'm the chair of the Lynn Cultural Council, which the role of the Lynn Cultural Council is to make grants to support a variety of arts, culture, and historical activities and opportunities across Lynn. So we encourage anyone who is doing anything arts related, culture related, to apply. And you can be a nonprofit, you can be a school, an individual artist, a singer, as long as the project you're proposing is to benefit Lynn residents in some way, then we welcome your application.
Outstanding. Now, when it comes to the Lynn Cultural Council, we're talking before the show about there's a bit of an umbrella that it works with the Mass Cultural Council, and then they allocate money to communities like Lynn. Let's talk about that briefly.
Oh, sure. So the Massachusetts Cultural Council receives money from the state to then allocate out to all of the cities and towns across the Commonwealth. So they do a great job of advocating for funding for all of us at the local level. And what happens is they decide how much each city and town gets based upon the population of that town. So this year we are giving away $48,200, which is actually a great amount. And so we're just very excited to be able to go through the grant process again this year.
Some things that you had mentioned to me before were last year's figures, $40,000 you guys were able to allocate out, and you got $80,000 worth of grant applications. So this year you were allocated close to a 25% budget for that, so you guys must be excited to be able to kind of give back to the community. We were talking before the program about the City of Lynn and how it breeds pride and how people are always really have they're infatuated with their hometown. I mean, I think that happens everywhere, but Lynn specifically, and I think a lot of it has to do with the culture and the preservation of history and the amount of time that Lynn has been here. I mean, we've been a pivotal town within the development of America. So it's like a lot of people look at it, oh, it is what it is, but I mean, Lynn's been around for a very long time. I mean, 1629, and that's before the Declaration of Independence was written, even thought of. So these are some really cool, fun, interesting facts to discuss. And an organization called the Lynn Cultural Council is working to preserve this and continue to bring this to the community of Lynn. You guys have this event, this writing workshop, okay? It is on September 13th at 2 p.m. at the Walnut Street Cafe, all right? The grant writing process, very in-depth, very detail-oriented. Why is it important to take a writing workshop before you just go out and write for a grant?
So this grant workshop is our way of supporting grant applicants. We have found over the years that for people, especially people who have never written a grant before, we don't want that to dissuade them from applying. So the purpose of the grant workshop is really to walk people through our specific application, which is a 2-page application plus a budget and attachments, and to show them how exactly to fill it out, how exactly to create a budget, the types of things that we're interested in seeing, and also, and I think equally importantly, is the pitfalls to avoid. Oftentimes people will not complete the budget correctly or at all, or they won't give enough information about the project for us to really be able to take a thoughtful look at their application. So the workshop, it's not required per se, but we strongly encourage all interested applicants, whether they've never applied before or have applied 15 times, we encourage everybody to go to the workshop if they're available to go.
Now, if there's anybody on the fence about whether or not they should go, what would you say to them? Hey, I'm encouraging you to go. Well, I mean, why? How are you going to convince that guy?
Yeah, well, I would say go. If you have an arts and culture idea and you want it to happen and you need money for it, then come. We can help people figure out whether or not they're eligible. 9 times out of 10 they are. There are certain things that certain criteria that have to be met. Again, the public benefit is huge, so we can't really fund per se an art exhibit that's in someone's home and they're only inviting their friends to it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not about the number. It's not like you have to be holding an event or a project where thousands and thousands of people are going to go. It can be for, 20 disabled residents of a home in Lynn, but it needs to be for the public in some way. So I really encourage anyone who's even thinking about a project, or perhaps they're already doing something really cool and interesting, tell us about it. Come to the workshop and learn more and see if you can apply, because you probably can.
Now, have you guys had any past successes with workshops that have happened prior to this one?
Yes, so the workshops happen every year, but last year we revamped it quite a bit to make it much more hands-on and much more informative on what we want to see, and again, the pitfalls to avoid. And that resulted in a wonderful increase in the quality of applications that we received. So I think as a council, we believe very strongly in educating people about the process, because certainly if we don't provide the education, then we can't expect people to automatically know how to apply. So it's important for us to help people submit quality applications.
Very informative stuff. Thank you so much for coming on to the program. Sarah Jackson, chair member of the Lynn Cultural Council. We're here today. We're talking about their event. It's going to be on Sunday, September 13th. It's a grant writing workshop. It's at the Walnut Street Cafe. If you're working to make an impact in the community of Lynn and you want to preserve history, culture through diversity, whatever it is, come on down. Very outstanding organization. They do a lot of advocacy within the community of Lynn. Sarah, I want to thank you for coming on to the program. For those at home, if you want to find more information, you can jump onto their website, mass-culture.org/Lynn. You can also reach out to them, 781-691-0060. They're on Facebook, Facebook/Lynn Cultural Council. And you can also send them a letter at the Lynn Museum. They're using that as a mailing address. It's 590 Washington Street. Deadline for grants, October 15th. Make sure they're sent in before then. Sarah Jackson, thank you again for coming on the program from the studio here at LynnCAM TV. That's it for What's Happening. I'm Sean Donahue, wishing you all the best.